You are listening to Adela's Death Draught, Part 1 of Poison and Fire, an Adela Darken short. Copyright H.M. Jones 2016. Music by D. Ivan Thiel, Evolution. Enjoy. Adela's hands tremble forcefully. The small glass vial in her fist clinks against the heavy wood tabletop. A bead of sweat trickles down her nose. She prays it will stay its fall. It would not do for sweat to drip into the noxious draught. A splash of this oil on her skin could end her career. Even though she's wearing her leather mixing glove, she pinches the vial as if she's pinching fire. Slow and steady, Adela. If you spill the hemlock oil, Mom will be shouting her "I told you so's" over your dead body. She scolds herself just above a whisper in an attempt to calm her shaking hand. She takes a deep breath and tips exactly 3 measures of the oil into her boiling flask. She quickly corks the oil and drops it delicately into its velvet purse. With a sigh of relief, she places it in a burnt wood box Wizen Bunyan gave her. It's a scary-looking relic, carved with a laughing skull. His Wizen's sigil. She locks the burnt wood box away in her secure cupboard, and she lets the tension in her shoulders unwind. There. Adela releases a rush of air. She'd been trying not to breathe or even blink as long as the hemlock oil was in her shaking grasp. She swipes the stained cotton sleeve over the sweat of a close call. The next ingredient, crookspine, is innocuous if spilled or consumed. Lifesaver, Wizens call it. It is the antidote oil, good for an accidental snakebite or purposeful poisoning. A perfect balance to hemlock oil, also known as death draught. She tips 7 measures of crookspine into the flask, corks it, and places it in its place next to the chrysanthemum oil on her homemade crooked shelf. The shelf dips in the center so that it looks like it's smiling, so she keeps her happier oils, mixtures, and additives on it. She does her mixing and tidying in a steady, practiced manner. Wizen Bunyan is always impressing upon her the need for patience and tidiness in this line of work. A mistake could literally kill her. Potents only live to be Wizens if they are cautious and clean, he reminds her daily. And Adela very much wants to be a Wizen. Count Verabella practically promised Mama that Adela would be the next Wizen, after Wizen Bunyan passes on. Not that the old man will ever allow himself to pass on. That is the thing about being a Wizen. You have the tools to prolong your life and career. No one is certain how old Wizen Bunyan is, but he once hinted that he remembered the great storm of locusts. So he has to be over 200 years old. Adela would love to bring in more money for her and Mama, but she doesn't want Wizen Bunyan to pass on. He is like a grandpapa to her, a stern, hairy-eared grandpapa. Anyway, the Count situated them in a nice little cottage with a detached workshop for Adela, just in case a drought goes wrong. If she causes an explosion or gaseous poison, they are far enough from the city to not harm anyone. Count Verabella sends many a client her way for simple draughts and potions, so her little family is never hungry, which is more than she can say for most of New Druria. The last 2 years have been bad for her little out-of-the-way city. High rains and no sun has destroyed many of the crops. Even the Count's stores are low. It's early autumn and people are anxious about the long winter. Some will surely not survive it. Adela and Mama will survive. Adela is able to coax plants to live indoors with the help of her potions. But they're the lucky ones. What will homeless citizens do? Adela gives to the food mill weekly, whatever she and Mama can spare, but the food mill is running out of food already. Farm hands are running out of work. Out-of-work farmers turn to whatever jobs they can do until those jobs run out. And most of the jobs have run out. It's a terrible cycle. No job, no money, no home, no food. That's when desperation creeps in. When starvation stabs begin, most people will do anything to sate the pain. Adela burns with urgency. She must not fail in her assignment. Wizen Bunyan finally gave Adela her post-potent assignment last week. If successful, the assignment will take her off the list of potents and place her in the scrolls of Wizens. And she will be successful. She must be. Job security for Adela means she and Mama have a nice place to live, food to eat. But it also means that the food mill will never be empty again. She is to create a drought that farmers can administer to their crops, a drought that makes the crops resistant to bugs, overwatering, and even slows the process of rotting. It will bring prosperity to the Darken namesake, but most importantly, it will bring food and jobs to the people of New Dreria. She'll not fail, Mama. Dad failed them both when the jobs ran out. He drank and gambled away their savings until one day gambling was the death of him. He tried to cheat the wrong man and ended his life with a drunkard's dagger in his heart. Adela still misses him, even after all the wrong he did. He'd been a good, hard-working man when he had a job to do. It was like losing his job made him lose his mind. He was a completely different person after that. A person who resented Adela and Mama for bringing in money for food and clothing. She misses the man who sang her to sleep with a low and haunting baritone. She misses the way it trembled from his chest, heavy with melancholy. Her heart aches for the man who loved to run a horsehair brush through her raven hair. She mourns his golden eyes that pulled down at both sides like hers. "You stole my eyes and my heart," he used to tease her. A tear drifts from those stolen eyes as she allows herself to grieve for a moment. Adela had been warned, time and time again, to not let her mind wander. Wizen Bunyan often rapped her on the head with his laughing skull cane when he saw her eyes lose focus. They frequently did after Dad's death. "A fluffy head will lead to an early grave. Pay attention, Adela Darken." She can even picture the way his caterpillar eyebrows pulled together before he smacks her. He should have been there to rap her on the head. The laughing skull with his dagger-like cheekbones would have unfogged her brain. She's been up too late, sleeping too little since Dad left them forever. All these thoughts come afterwards in a numb, detached wish. A wish that leaves her body as her blood evaporates in her veins and the breath abandons her lungs. But that was before she forgot to cap the burning flask, before she lit the match. That was before the draught of crookspine, vitriol, and hemlock oil turned into a gas that tiptoed into the air past her consciousness. She notices the smell before she notices her mistake. Her throat stops up, panic fills her eyes. She blows out the burner, caps the flask with drunken hands. But it's too late. They say hemlock oil smells like mice droppings when it burns, and crookspine like mint. How odd. Death smells like mint and mice. She falls to the floor. Her wishes, her breath, her fears evaporate into the air with the green gas cloud that stole her life. For a flicker of a moment, the green cloud looks like the smiling face of her father. Then all is nothingness. Stay tuned for Part 2 of Poison and Fire, Pine Box and Panic. Go to www.hmjones.net.